Oh, there we are.
We are live.
We are live.
Great. And we are live. Thanks for joining us, everyone, for the Quantum Leap broadcast for Election Day, November 3rd. And we actually have an exciting guest on today. Jesus, who's a realtor and a younger guy who's really, I think, embodies a lot of interesting and what I would call successful qualities in terms of his mindset, but also just his who he is. And I wanted to welcome him today, but first wanted to ask my co-host Corey not to introduce himself. And how are you today, Corey?
Good. My name is Corey Knott and co-host on the Quantum Leap podcast here. I am a business coach and I specialize in working with purpose-driven solopreneurs, partnerships, and some micro firms on aligning that purpose with their business. And I do that along with my wife, Gail Knott, who is my partner in the business. And it's something that I am promoting now as we actually have a online platform for business owners to find accountability, inspiration, and support from like-minded individuals. And it comes with a workshop, including our 6-hour business development workshop coming up on November 20th.
Great. And Jesus, how are you doing today? I like your Cal shirt. Are you a Cal Bears football fan?
I am. Yeah, yeah. I like. I'm a fan of all local sports teams here in the Bay Area, so I definitely like to support my Bears, and I'm doing good. I'm thankful to join you guys today. I'm excited to not only talk about my journey, but yeah, just have some interesting topics that we're going to cover today. So, thanks for having me today.
Yeah, great. And for those of who may not know Jesus, he's actually a rising star in the real estate industry, and he serves as a real estate agent for Rick Fuller's team out in the Antioch area, out in the East Bay area. And there's a lot of really interesting things going on in the real estate industry, which we'll talk about. And we actually haven't had a realtor on our show, and what caught my eye about Jesus was his story and just his approach to his business, but also his age and how he seemed to figure out a lot of these what I would call success principles and practices at such a young age. So I really see him as a great role model for other professionals. And could you just tell us a little bit about you and your professional background, Jesus?
Yeah, I do have an extensive sales background. Was doing sales management, and through that initial career path, I learned a lot about myself, and that was almost I got into that type of work field, I would say, by faith. And I learned very quickly. I had some great tools when it came to communicating, when it came to speaking with people. And I was previously in an environment where I was coaching others, not so much on their business, but on their health, and I very, very quickly found I had great influence. And to fast forward, I started seeing all these traits and just me kind of learning all these different things. I was kind of, I'm 28 years old. And at the time I was 25, 26 years old, I was kind of put out in a position where I was networking within my community. I was going to the Brentwood chambers. I was going to those mixers. I got invited to these close networking groups. And through that, I acquired some skill sets and honestly made some amazing connections. And I just used I pivoted and used those connections to my benefit. And I decided to take this career path in real estate. And how that even happened is, I talk about networking and being a part of the chamber and really trying to get out to the community. I met, and this is where we met, David, the Delta BNI group, and it's a closed networking group. And I had the opportunity to meet with the realtor by the name of Rick Fuller, who I partner with, who is my partner. And he really gave me some education and some thoughts that I really didn't think about, but also, we talked about some of the goals that I have set for myself. And I figured, to those goals, real estate is essentially going to be the best fit for me. Not only that, but I'm a people's person. I love to help people. I love to serve people. And in real estate, I found out very quickly that it's what fits me best. And that's just a little bit of my background and how we got here. I could talk a little bit more about my path so far, but going into this business, I had my mindset that I was going to join one team and one team only, and that's the Rick Fuller team. And part of it is not only did Rick see something that I kind of didn't at a young age, right? You kind of take that for granted. You're like, oh, I'm just here to network. But he really educated me, and we are the number one real estate team in the San Francisco Bay Area, and that's in sales and supporting the Zillow. So that type of credibility, I wanted to be part of that. I want to be part of the best. And they've really given me an amazing opportunity to leverage my business, to build my business, to really create visibility. And with that, not only does the Rick Fuller team help my business, I am part of closed networking groups, the Delta chapter BNI, and I really do heavily rely on my sphere of influence, my family, my friends, people that I really know and like and trust in the community. But that's just a little bit about myself and how I got here in real estate. And things are heating up in this market. And 2020 is, for most people, has been a crazy year, but for me, thankfully, it's been an amazing year, and I'm grateful for that.
Well, thank you. And I actually was dipping into a book called Jim Collins, Good to Great, and he says the one important thing about successful companies that makes them great is the quality of people that they attract and they develop. And just in your brief story there, I see that Rick seeing something in you and then helping develop you, but also just creating that atmosphere for the whole team to really grow and thrive. And you see that in the success story that you've had, and but also that he's had as one of the top team in the industry in the area. So great to hear. I did want to ask you about, you know, uh, 2020 threw us a curveball in a number of ways. I maybe call it a sinker. Or, about how you've been adapting to the COVID-19 environment in terms of how that's affected you in your professional life.
Well, like I said, I was grateful that I am part of one of the number one real estate teams. So when this all happened, we kind of discussed three things: survive, pivot, and thrive. And we had those seasons where we just had to survive through that season. In a sense, I mean, real estate, we were deemed non-essential for a small time frame. And then we were, when COVID hit, and then just guidelines, we were deemed essential again. And that's where our team started to pivot right away. We pivoted, and we were doing, because we couldn't do open houses, for most agents, especially agents starting off in the industry. Open houses are huge. It's a great way to generate business, and we didn't have that there. So we were on top of it. We were doing virtual open houses. I was at our listings and hopping on Facebook Lives and Zoom calls, and just having all this type of engagement, creating really kind of creating this new virtual world we live in, right? So it kind of, and it was interesting because we also saw more engagement. On Facebook, I was seeing 500 to 1,000 views. How many times do you have 1,000 people coming through an open house? So we saw an opportunity there. And like I said, I was part of a team that we were just proactive. We were doing virtual tours. We were already doing Zoom. We were, and really we shifted to virtual consultations, because there was a time we couldn't do in-person meetings. So we were meeting with our clients virtually, partnering with our lenders, and having, whether they're buying or selling, really kind of just creating a unique plan to everyone's scenario. And like I said, we were really kind of, felt like we were one of the teams that were ahead of it from day one, because that was our intention. We kind of we took the approach like, let's not wait to see what happened. Let's be the pioneers of this, and it's been great, and I guess what I really like about it, what it's created for me, um, kind of being in a little bit younger in this industry, COVID created for me personally created an even playing field with my competition because now everyone really had to adjust. Like, well, real estate is different now because of COVID, and I felt like just with my experience with social media technology, it gave me one up on my competition, and I really used that to leverage my business in COVID. So and that's outside of that, obviously using my resources, BNI, we were meeting 7 o'clock every Friday for breakfast, and that all changed, and we're all meeting virtually, and still successfully networking and passing closed business.
Yeah, very interesting anecdotes, and some people might even call that the Mamba mentality. I saw that there. I don't know if you're a Kobe Bryant fan or if you just appreciate his ability to kind of seize the opportunity, so to speak. And what you were saying, what I was hearing was that COVID leveled the playing field by giving folks younger who are more savvy in the virtual environment kind of a leg up compared to where they might lack in kind of years of experience to pull yourself up. And that's a very interesting anecdote. I've also heard Corey tell me about, they don't buy our service, they buy who we are. And with that, I hear that saw your presentation to your networking chapter about some very interesting extracurricular activities I think balance you out as an individual and giving back to the community and also the youth. Could you talk a little bit about some of the other things you do outside of work that bring you happiness?
Yeah, I would say one of the number one things that really brings me happiness is being able to give back through coaching in sports. And I played football for the last 15 years of my life. And when I wasn't able to play, I then kind of stepped into coaching. And that was a part of that I got into because of my cousin, my younger cousin, who I have a close relationship with. Um, and that took off. And, I saw how I had the ability to grow kids who've never played football before. I saw that the parents were all in. I had some parents, and this is just me being me, my personality, who I am. I mean, I had to figure coaching out, but I just was myself, and I had some parents who we were like, you don't understand what coming to practice means to my son or my daughter. This is really is a happy place for them, or you've helped them build confidence in themselves. My first year, was a learning curve, and I specifically I've been coaching in the Mountain House area because that's where my cousin lives. And the second year, I had a system in place where I saw what drove the kids, and thankful to say I've helped develop tons of kids over the years. I've been coaching for 5 years now. I've recently got into basketball as well, and just kind of diving into other areas because it nothing makes me happier than, like I said, seeing a child progress. I had a couple kids on my team that they've never played football before, and I pride myself in saying that every team that I've had, because it's flag football, it's different now, it's changing. But of every team I've ever had, I've had at least every kid score twice on my team. And those are championship teams, like I hold these kids to high levels, and just like I do myself, but it's a balance, and when I'm not coaching, I do spend a lot of my time just with my family, and giving back to my family, and I really do cherish that time. And when I'm not with my family, I love just giving back to the community. Just recently, for myself, I guess I say one of my skill sets, one of my hobbies that outside of real estate, I've done barbering for some time, and that's just something that I've done for fun. And recently, I've connected with some people who they go out and they help the homeless and provide haircuts for the homeless. So recently, I've been diving into that area just because I know that's an area that I can serve. That's an area that I can help other people. But those are some of the things that I like to do and bring me peace. And, I'm kind of a simple type of guy, but more importantly, I think for me, it's, God first and family second, community. And those are kind of just the morals that I live by, and really try to pour into other people.
Yeah, well, thanks for sharing that. And I did want to turn it over to Corey to make any comments and take the second half of the interview.
Yeah, so it's a pretty interesting real estate market right now. Might even call it a little bit crazy. Though I admit I'm not following it as much as I probably will starting next year. Could you tell us what you see currently happening in the local real estate market, like the Bay Area, East Bay, Greater Bay Area, and where do you see this market going?
Yeah, so one of the interesting things about our team, and I think we kind of talk about more local real estate. We kind of have a pulse on a couple different markets, and some of the markets that I've just recently been studying, our team has been studying, and those are our primary areas. We've been in Antioch, we're in Concord, we're in Richmond, and we're in Sacramento area. We kind of believe that everything around that's kind of like the ripple effect. It doesn't change too much, but in those certain markets, we're seeing a couple things. And it really, I could say this for all of the Bay Area market here, is one, we're seeing that inventory is probably historically low, the lowest that we've seen it in a long time. And what that creates is a couple things: supply and demand. We're seeing right now the demand for real estate skyrocket in a time where most agents take time off and have vacation in this fourth quarter. People are staying the course and still working hard. I mean, because we essentially kind of missed out on the spring market, so we're still seeing a strong market. And not only that, we're seeing interest rates at an all-time low. So what that's doing is, because of interest rates are being so low, it's allowing people to have a lower mortgage payment. And we know here in the Bay Area, rent is not, it's not cheap. And with previous interest rates, having a $3,000, $4,000 mortgage for a lot of people, it's tough to balance here in the Bay Area. But essentially, I see a couple things because of that supply and demand. From a selling standpoint, if you've been thinking about selling your house, this is probably the best opportunity to do it. And here's why: because if you market your home correctly, if you're working with, I would say, really a listing specialist who's going to really kind of put together a unique plan to your, to specifically what you're looking for, and can handle multiple offers, because in this market right now, I'm working with buyers really and kind of all over the place. I don't limit myself, but it's not unusual to see 15 offers on a home. It's not unusual to see 10 offers on a home. So what it really, in a sense, the sellers aren't setting the price point, the market is, the buyers are. And we are starting to see, because of that, we are starting to see home values increase, and they are holding their value. So for people buying, not only are the interest rates at an all-time low, but you buy knowing that that value of the home is going to retain, because we're still not at the point where we have enough supply, and the demand is still high. And what I'm also seeing too is, like I said, I'm kind of unique position with our team. I kind of work in all kind of different markets, and what we're seeing right now, and my good partner Rick Fuller calls it the Great Migration. We're seeing tons of people from the San Francisco Bay Area, Oakland, move to markets such as Elk Grove and Sacramento. And why? Because now a lot of those people can work remotely. So I think COVID, that remote aspect, is going to change a lot too. We're going to start seeing other markets start to pick up, get a little bit busier. But that's what I'm seeing. And like I said, I have an amazing opportunity to kind of dive into all markets, but really, in all markets, we're seeing low inventory and a high demand.
Cool, thank you. Um, that's very interesting, and it'll be interesting to see if it sticks that way. So, as a business coach, I'm always interested in helping create success for my clients. What do you think have been your keys to success in your life and career?
I think for me personally, um, I think it's understanding not only my powerful why, but the person I'm working with, their powerful why. And I learned that, like I said, when I was coaching personal training and weight loss, really listening to someone's why. And I think in business, I've taken that to the next level in kind of making that um, the kind of center of how I do my business. And more importantly, I think too is just having close relationship and communication has been key for me. I'm unfortunately in a position where I'm in an industry where there's agents who've been in it for 15, 20, have a lot more years of experience. So I do have to find ways to be unique, to be different, to be relatable. And I think now in 2020, that's what it is. People want to work with people who they know, like, and trust. And my ultimate goal is to create an experience that that my friends and family are excited to tell their friends and family about.
Great. And I know Cora is the one who's actually taught me about the importance of why. And I think this is actually the first time I've ever heard a realtor mention that in those words. And, so not that you're the only one who probably looks at it like that, but in my experience, that's a very, philosophical and analytical answer, especially compared to some of the other folks who I've talked to. So that's refreshing to hear. And I do see that as a huge key to success. I know, Corey, um, you teach, seminars on the why. I think people have to kind of feel some connection for the person, why they would work with them over somebody else. And I think him knowing that, looking for that in other people already gives him a big kind of leg up, so to speak. Cord, do you have any follow-up questions? Or I know we do have a couple more minutes in terms of what you see as a business coach about, he just seems like he's 10 or 15 years ahead of his time. I wish I was where he was at when I was 28.
Sometimes me too. Yeah, but yeah, we're really big on training on the why. That's the foundation of any business plan that we do. But and really getting deep into it, depending on the profession. But, no, I don't have a lot of follow up.
Okay.
There's a lot going on in real estate, but yeah, so it's fascinating.
Yeah, and just if people do, what kind of struck me as a, competitive advantage, if you will, or something unique about you is your team and you in particular really have your kind of finger on the pulse of the market in terms of, what offer might make sense strategically based on other things you've seen in the market. And just your team, all the kind of institutional knowledge that it has working with Rick Filler. If somebody, wanted to be part of this migration, what markets could you help sell them a house in? And, who is kind of your ideal client and how can they get a hold of you?
Well, like I had mentioned before, I don't limit myself to what markets I do tap in. Our team, the Rick Fuller team, we're here in Antioch, so we serve the greater East Bay. We grow Sacramento County. I mean, there isn't a county that we don't serve here in our surrounding area. So I've been in all markets. I am well versed in all markets, and I think for me, an ideal client in a real estate, transaction, everyone's in kind of a unique situation. I've obviously loved working with first-time home buyers because there's no better feeling than handing, keys to someone who never thought they can purchase a home. I do love working with, investors who see the opportunity in residual income in real estate. And I love educating people on residual income, which is part of the reason that I came into real estate and really trying to build, really build wealth, generational wealth within my family, and more importantly, build my net worth. So realistically, I really I like working with buyers. I love taking listings and helping people, sell their homes, because I think right now, with people selling their homes, there's usually an emotional attachment to it, whether COVID impacted their current lifestyle, or they just decided, hey, we're tired of California, we're moving out of state. And we're seeing that a lot too, but more importantly, I would say, anyone who wants the support, not only of myself, but my team, and I think that's where I leverage myself with my team, because, we have specialists on our team to help me and have the opportunity to see homes before they go on the market, or get my clients into those homes before they hit the market. So it's really the opportunity to serve anybody, whether they have questions, or, hey, how do I get started? Or, hey, I'm on my third home. What type of homes can we find in these markets? So really just a broad variety of clients. And, I like to think I kind of camouflage myself to whatever the situation is, and best serve them.
Great. Well, with that, we're just about at time, and thanks for coming on to share your success story. And who are the Bears playing this weekend? Just slips my mind. I am looking forward to some Cal Bear football.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I'm looking it up right here, right now.
No,
But let's see, the
my
Cowboys.
dad told me. I just forget it. It might even be
They're
Stanford, but
playing Washington this week. They're
Washington.
playing
Okay.
Washington this week.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
so go Bears. Not only Bears. Like I said, I'm a local sports fan here. Love the A's. Unfortunately, the Raiders left us. I'm a Raiders fan here too. Like San Jose Spartans, go Spartans. I just support all the local teams here. Bay Area boys. So
Great, exciting stuff. And thanks everyone for joining us. We're going to close out with Jesus Ochoa, a model realtor here in the East Bay area. So thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you next week for Quantum Leap Live.
thank you guys for having me. Take care.
Thank you.